Well, welcome back to the James and Jaden podcast where we talk about real estate and whatever else comes up. Obviously, you can see that I'm in the dungeon right now. It's only 10 degrees out right now. And we got Jaden on the other phone, or the other line. So why don't we just introduce Jaden? Jaden?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, don't make fun of
Oh,
me.
great. Going amazing.
It's totally amazing outside. Thanks for rubbing it in and sitting by the pool in Florida.
It actually cooled off enough here to where it's pretty comfortable out now.
Oh yeah, really. I'm really feeling for you, Brady. You feeling for him too?
Feels so bad.
Yeah, we
Like
we
85 a couple days ago was
we,
getting
we
ridiculous.
feel bad. I have to wear a stinking, look like cousin Eddie down here in the in the basement. But I thought it was kind of fun just to kind of put on. I'm going to put my normal hat back on, but it definitely is chilly out there.
Yeah, that's early for cold weather like that.
Yeah, they're talking. It's probably the earliest that we might be on the ice for ice fishing already, which is crazy. I mean, it's December 4th. They said last time it got this cold this soon was 11 years ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, You're gonna see me a lot down there, buddy.
You're welcome to visit.
We're gonna have to bring your setup down there and just like set up anywhere and just do a podcast or do whatever.
Yeah.
So today, actually earlier this week, and I know you and I have been talking about it. Like we want to do more of this, but we just want to make it casual that we're going back and forth, right? So I just wanted us to. I mean, shit. I think we've already talked 2 hours, 2.5 hours today on the phone with our team.
A long day so far. Yep.
Yeah, you guys understand that. I mean, him and I, we talk all the time. Most of I would say, what do we about 60% business, 40% we talk about other stuff.
It's probably 80% business. We talk stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I used to have an office right next to you, so I just talked through the wall at you all day, and now I have to call you because you're across the country.
Right, and I know you're not used to that all the time. I know that you probably got more used to that with me and like, well, wait a minute, I haven't heard from James for 4 hours. I better check on him. Or James is checking on me, hasn't heard for 2 hours. And it's really not like that, guys.
Without hearing from you, it is a little unusual.
Right.
Makes me wondering.
Right. I'm sure you're like, what is he doing right now? And he didn't call. So you guys, actually, I look at it as it's pretty awesome. I do that with my wife too. There's only 2 people that I call, probably too much, but there's always a reason. And you guys both like to hear my voice, right?
Of course.
See, exactly. So we talked to Maddie last on Monday. Today, and basically Maddie and I just it was more of a free for all, right? I think what we're going to start doing is we're going to talk topics of the week. What's kind of trending right now. So whatever topics that you might have, I know you talked about one 50-year mortgage. Is it worth it? Yeah. Is it not?
Right? Yeah, we can talk about that real quick. I think it's a pretty short conversation, but I feel like this reminds me of 2008. For anybody who was an adult in 2008. I don't know if you remember 2008. They came out with the housing market was crashing.
Mm-hmm.
And Obama came out with this new program to try to help shore up the housing market, where he would do
modification.
It was like a down payment assistance or something like that, or $8,000 towards a house or something like that. Is that what it was? $8,000 or $10,000?
No, yeah, it was basic, and I'm actually going to speak freely, and most people don't realize that, but I actually had to use that.
Well, there was 2 different things. There was for people buying a new house. So my brother bought a new house in 2008 and 2009, and it was like a $10,000 down payment, essentially, is what it was, like a tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
So if you bought a house that was, say, like $150,000 or $100,000, you'd essentially get into it for pretty much no down payment, is what it was.
Right.
And it went on like about 12 months. They did that to try to spur demand because the housing market was completely cratering. And then they also had these other programs where if you were behind any mortgage, it would do forbearance and change your mortgage details and all that stuff to try to keep you in the house.
Yep.
But I'm talking about the first one where they were giving you down payments to try to spur this demand. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is because what happened was I was in Iowa at the time, and I was selling a property, and once that law passed and it became able to get this down payment assistance, the property I had for sale went up in value $10,000 overnight. So people got this $10,000 rebate from the government to buy a house, and it just increased the property values by $10,000 instantly.
Right.
So the buyer didn't actually gain anything. All it did was benefit the sellers. And that's what this 50-year mortgage will do. The same thing is it will just drive more demand and benefit sellers. This is how I see it. I don't think it's a good thing for buyers at all, personally.
I've seen a couple different numbers on it where they take a 30-year mortgage and put the interest rate on, and it was like, again, these are stupid numbers right now, $1,900 a month, and then they do a 15-year mortgage, and it's or not a 50-year mortgage, and it was like $130 to $150 less
Yeah, to never actually own your house.
to never own your house, and just for an extra 20 years. That kind of feels like somebody's taking advantage of people, doesn't it?
It doesn't. It's not helping anybody. All that will happen is it will drive up demand to drive the prices up to where the payments are the same as what they were before on a 30-year mortgage. That's all that's going to happen. So you're not going to save any money. It's just going to make it worse for buyers.
That's funny because
So
I didn't even think of it like that. I did not think of it. That is a
that's all
total different way.
That's what happens with it. Like student loans is the same thing. Student loans in college. That's why college got so expensive because the government started doing student loans and driving debt into the university system, and it drives up demand and drives up cost of everything. It's the same thing.
Hey, on that note, that's funny that you say that. I heard a statistic the other day for the first time that it's over 50%. I want to say it's like 70% believe that college is not, you don't need to go to college anymore. That's the first time that it's been up that high.
Yeah, my oldest is turning 15, and he's going to think pretty hard about whether he needs to go to college or not. So it's definitely not a given.
Yeah, sorry, that just had a trigger on there of where it's at.
Yeah, so this 50-year mortgage, I'm against it. It's not going to help anybody. It'll help sellers. You'll sell properties for a little bit more money. It's not going to help buyers, but I think people don't understand it, so maybe they think it will. So
Are they
I
keeping the
don't.
same interest rate at all, or is it a little bit lower?
I would assume it'd be a little higher than a 30-year mortgage interest rate. I would guess.
Yeah,
So
that makes.
like I think the answer should be like, how do we get housing to be less expensive? This is actually to make housing more expensive. That doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, I didn't
You know?
even realize like when people do rebates like that, it's kind of like when we were looking for an e-vehicle, right? And they're like, "Hey, you got to buy this car now because you're gonna get a $7,000 to $10,000 rebate." Well, I did not even think of that. As soon as that went away, that's funny. It came down $7,000 to
I'm
$10,000.
pretty sure I told you that too.
You did, you did.
Wait until I mean, actually, what'll happen is you'll probably get an even lower price after it expires because nobody will be looking at buying those cars. So all those companies like Tesla and everything, they already figured in their plans the second that expired, they would drop their prices $8,000 to keep the price the same.
Right.
But on top of that already being planned for, everyone that wanted to buy a car already bought one. So even though dropping the price $8,000, they're not going to sell any of those things for a while because they've already heard about one. So you might get an even better price.
So the government is backing when they do that. Is that like the government backing Tesla or backing the electric
Oh, they were
cars?
backing EV. They're trying to get people to buy EVs. So they're backing the EV industry. They've done it for years.
Right. I remember like when you got yours. Yeah.
I don't think I even got a credit when I bought mine because Tesla had exhausted their credits at the time.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. No, it just blows me away that sometimes when the government gets involved, sometimes it
Distorts the market.
ends up being a shit show. I'm going to say it.
Yeah. So no, I don't think it's a good plan. I think if you want to make housing more affordable, I think there's a lot of other things you could do. I think one thing that I think government should consider is raising property taxes on second homes and vacation homes and vacant properties to incentivize people to lease up properties that are vacant. Because we have a lot of vacant properties in this country that just sit there empty. And if they weren't vacant, I think that would drive more supply into the marketplace. So that's an obvious thing that could be done.
Right.
Also making it easier to build houses for people. A lot of states, it's very difficult to build houses.
Right. I'm looking at some of these kind of notes that Brady puts for us a little bit, and one of the questions, I think we already figured it out. Will the 50 years mortgage thing last? I don't even know if it started. It's not even.
I mean, I think it exists in Europe. So if they start it, it will it'll just be a thing forever then. And, it's not something we should do, but it will probably happen.
But aren't we one of the only countries that we stay in our house for a short period of time, the shortest period of time, and then we just move? Because I feel like everybody else is, especially Europe, it's more of like you're handing it down to generation. They barely move.
Yeah.
You've heard that, right? I mean,
yeah, I know they have different mortgages over there. Their mortgages work differently. They have really low interest rates. And it's a different financing system. So I don't know exactly how it works, but it's definitely different than ours. Australia is different too.
Australian is different, really?
Yeah, I think they have a 50-year mortgage in Australia.
I didn't realize that there's also different mortgages. Like I think Muslim people can't carry a mortgage, or they have to have a certain kind of mortgage.
They can't have debt.
They can't have debt.
Right.
So how do you not have debt when you buy a house in the United States?
Well, the ones I'm familiar with that I've heard of, they usually buy it a contract for deed or a lease to own.
Okay. So isn't that still debt? That's not debt because it's not.
To me, it's a technicality, but leasing is not technically debt. So, and a contract for deed technically isn't debt. I don't know. It sure looks like debt to me, but and banks actually consider leases to be debt too. So,
I'm sure there's
just a technicality. Yeah, I think
there's a way to get around it. Yeah. Hey, we've talked a lot today. Obviously, we're on some management meetings and different things, and one of the things that I thought about doing, and I maybe other people do, is like we're in our business, right? I mean, we want to be out of our business, but we also want to be in our business. So I came up with this really great idea, but it requires you going on vacation with me. Just you and I. We take off January 1st, January 2nd. I'll take care of Nicole. Don't worry about it.
She might miss me.
I just, how cool would that be literally if we literally blogged our whole way through wherever we went? Let's just hypothetically say Vietnam. And it's Jaden and James blogging their way through through Vietnam, just figuring shit out like we always do. We have a
good time.
We have a plan where we just go, we get to the one spot, and we got 3 days to figure out where we're going to hop on a train, what we're going to do, and we got to make it all the way from northern Vietnam all the way to southern Vietnam, in 13 days or whatever it is. I don't know. The reason why I brought that up is, again, I already chatted with you a little bit about I can't do that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I know that we're in our business all the time, and I know that, of course we want it to succeed. That's why we're in our business, right? But sometimes that can be a bad thing. And I don't say it for everybody. Everybody always knows. We've been told before, sometimes we stir the pot when we're in the business. So I figured we could just 100%, we both run away for a month. Again, I don't know if we can do a full month, but I'll talk to
you.
I don't know if you remember.
We actually have done this before. It's been quite a while, though.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say is I'm just trying.
2018, we went to Peru for 2 weeks.
Well, we were gone for just a week because that was the longest time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I know the time frame on this because being in Afghanistan, Iraq, I talked to Jen every single day, and for the very first time in our whole life, being in a war zone, I still talk to her every day. We went on that mission trip to Peru, and for the very first time, I didn't talk to Jen in 48. I think we went 6 days. I want to say that's the longest, Jaden, we ever. I remember I finally got somebody's phone and I call her up and she's like, I'm like, I only have so many seconds to talk. I just want to let you know I'm fine. I'm great. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But
we were in the Amazon rainforest, middle of nowhere. So
yeah, but you're absolutely right. I think you and I are one of the only two people that follow the rules where they say, don't bring your cell phone. Okay.
In fact, we got to that camp in the middle of, literally, it's 2 hours away from any town in the middle of nowhere. And as soon as we got there, a couple of guys walked to the top of the hill, turned their cell phones on, and started making phone calls. And I'm like,
what?
Wow.
That's what they were doing.
Cell phones are in the middle of the Amazon rainforest.
I know that you can get in the middle of Afghanistan, too, because that's what they would do. They'd get on their buildings up there, and the Afghani army would over there trying to, they're talking to people. So
they must have more powerful cell stations down there or something, because it's like here I could be a mile away from a cell tower and not get service.
Well, yeah, but in Afghanistan or even you're not going against any other electronic.
There's nothing else there.
There's nothing there.
Yep.
So back to it. Are you in? Let's do it. Come on.
Would love to go. Give me about 10 years.
Come on,
And
I'll
we'll
talk to Nicole. I'll take care of all the all the logistics with her.
get the kids out of high school that I can go. Well, probably get them into high school at least, so I can go wherever I want.
Right, right. It's we got Grandma down there too. Grandma and Steve. Come on now.
Yeah, we've used that our fair share.
Yeah, because we've as much as again I thought like, hey, let's bring the girls, but I'm like, you know what? I was just trying to think of something that was just like an adventure. It's like, okay, one of the things that you and I really love to do, right, is figure shit out. Hey, we're here. We need to get here. How do we get there? Or this is where our company is. Here's what we need to do. Here's how we need to get there.
Yeah.
So I just,
I trip to Costa Rica like what you're talking about, where we just showed up. I saw a flight advertised to Liberia, Costa Rica in the airport. It was like I was coming back from a different vacation and I saw like just the ad for Liberia, new flight to Liberia, Costa Rica on Delta or something like that,
right.
or Sun Country. And I was like, cool. And I just popped my phone open and I'm like, hey, we're going to Costa Rica in 3 weeks, and I just booked it. And then we just went to Costa Rica and found a place to stay and figured it out for 6 or 7 days.
Yeah, which is so cool. You literally got on a bus. You could have taken a train or like a plane to hop to the other side. Would have took you half hour.
American shuttle service for the Americans, which whenever somebody says American anything in other countries, it just means it's like super bougie and ridiculously comfortable and luxurious,
right?
And expensive. So the American shuttle service was like $300 a person to like ride in an air conditioned bus with like food across the country. And then we asked the local person that we were staying with at her B&B, how else we could get across the country without spending $300 a person. And she said, well, the local bus, like for the locals, stops right at the end of the street and would go all the way across the country. It would take like 10 hours to do it, but it would get there. And I said, well, how much does that cost? And I think she said it was $2. So $2 per person, something $2 or $3.
Ooh, you big spender, you.
And then we found out after we got on the bus that we were like the only paying customers of the bus. Everybody else was on the bus for free.
Because you bought them off. Your $5 ticket paid for everybody.
We actually paid to be on the bus. We got to sit down.
Oh.
On a seat. The bus is completely full of people. But since we paid, we got to sit down.
Oh, now you feel like a doofus because you're like, all these people are opening and letting you sit down. And you don't even realize.
We felt weird because we were like, no, you guys,
Did you know that?
They wouldn't let us stand up because we had paid.
Right. Did you know that, though? I mean, No,
I had no idea. I thought people paid to be on the bus. It was just, apparently you can pay to be on the bus or you could not pay to be on the bus.
Okay. So all I remember you telling me stories of like, this is literally one of these buses that you could have goats or you could have chickens
it's like the thing you see on TV, like there's chickens hanging off the side, there's maybe a goat on top of the bus, people hanging back. It wasn't that bad. I don't think we had any animals on the bus, but it was that kind of a thing. It just like took like a bus sized for 30 people with 75 people on it, that kind of thing.
I took a plane from in country in Baghdad to another part of the country called Talil, and it was an old Russian plane that we had to load from the back. And I swear to God, Indiana Jones was flying this plane because that's exactly the plane that I remember. It's like I'm literally riding with the luggage, the chickens or whatever. No, there wasn't chickens, but that's the kind of plane it was. It had these little like dingleberries hanging from the window. It was a 1977 aircraft. And so after, this is 2007, as of 2008 of January, every plane had to be older than or newer of like 1985 and newer. You couldn't fly any of these planes because that was freaky out. You're in a different country. It flew fine. And there was no flight attendant on it. Basically, the pilot, he's the one that shut the door, walked by us and said, make sure your seatbelt's on. And then he opens the door to the cabin to go in and flies the plane. I think at one time he went, all right, we're getting ready to land.
Yeah, I mean, I think we forget that America is how this worked this way in America 50 to 70 years ago, and so if you want to see America 70 years ago, just go to other countries like that, and that's how it used to be here. Right. Things were done much less expensively, and it works.
Right.
We got across the country in 8 hours or 10 hours in a bus with no air conditioning. It was like 105 degrees. but it was an experience. So
And
there was
she,
a there was a lady selling empanadas, and people would hop on the bus at different bus stops and come on and sell things, and then
yeah.
hop off at the next bus stop. This old lady was selling empanadas that she had baked in her oven, and I'm like, oh, 75 cents for an empanada. So I got one, and Nicole thought that was a bad idea, but I'm like, when in Rome, have an empanada, I guess. And
So the question is,
yes, I got sick from it. But thankfully, we made it to our destination before I got sick almost immediately once we got there.
so it was kind of like having a suitcase of White Castle without having the White Castle.
Pretty much. Suitcase of empanadas.
Sorry, that's funny.
So that was an interesting trip.
We've been I just realized we've actually been quite a few places together. I think I've for a friend besides Jen, obviously you're the only person I've ever been to, Mexico, Peru, Cancun. Where else have we been?
Yeah, Mexico a couple of times. Peru. We've been all over the countries. Texas a number of times. Arizona.
Oh, hey,
Florida.
we're going on that fly and fishing trip in July of next year.
Going to Ontario flying fishing
Yep.
next summer.
Yep. We need to do some blogging on that one too. James and Jaden here. No, I was kidding. I just.
So do you want to jump on any other real estate topics? I'm sure people don't want to hear us talk about traveling the whole time.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. So what else has happened in real estate here?
Well, I think we should
it's the end of the year stuff. Go ahead.
I've been in residential real estate since 2005, and I remember, like, I don't know, 10 or so years ago, or maybe even longer, I started feeling like everybody's like, well, you have to get into commercial. That's just the natural progression from residential is you get into commercial. And it's just like this very strong, like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's how this is supposed to go.
That's the progression of
you graduate into commercial real estate, right? Well, so I did some commercial deals. I've done a couple hotels. I've invested passively in self-storage, mobile home parks, and apartment buildings. And so I've been in it a little bit. It's never been my primary business, but what I've learned from it is I think it is not an obvious thing for everyone to go get into commercial real estate because it's a certain personality type that can do that. You have to have a boatload of risk tolerance to do commercial real estate. You really do. And I don't think everybody does. I think most people don't have that. I don't have it. I don't like the possibility of losing millions of dollars of mine and other people's money and maybe being on the hook for a mortgage too on a commercial deal because that stuff can go to zero, like basically zero.
I think there's a lot of people right now that are finding that out, right? I mean, because they did
some of these. A lot of these syndication deals are collapsing, and I'm in one of them actually. One of mine is collapsing, so it's not fun to be in. And I'm not the leader of it. I just was a passive investor in it, but I'm seeing it, and it's a disaster, And you have these things like these commercial assets can be like one day they're worth $20 million, the next day they're worth $5 million.
Mm-hmm.
There's high-rise buildings in downtown Minneapolis that were worth like $200 million just a couple of years ago that are selling for like $8 million now.
Yep. Pennies on the dollar.
Time you saw a house go from like $200,000 to $8,000 overnight like that. That does not happen in houses. So commercial real estate, I don't think people understand how risky it is. It is incredibly risky. Your chances of wiping out your entire investment are actually pretty high. And I've had it happen. This one syndication went completely, lost everything on that one, everything I put into it. I've had some others that have kind of just gone mediocre, okay. This is the one that I've just lost everything, my whole investment on. So, and I've had a couple that have gone really well. So it's not like a total, like you always lose money on them, but it's been eye-opening for me. And I've been the leader on a couple deals too, like hotel deals where I've been the primary general partner. And I see like things don't go like you think they're going to go all the time. And it's the risks involved are much higher than at the end of the day, like a house can always be used for something. Mm-hmm. Someone can buy it, live there, someone can rent it. So there's just like this intrinsic demand and value to it. In commercial buildings, that's not really the case. You have to have the right user for the building, and it's got to fit that user, and the user has to be able to make money off. There's a lot of these things that have to get checked. So hotels have that problem. Hotels can struggle because the hotel market might be bad or there's competition or whatever else. Something else happens. COVID happens. But retail buildings, same thing. Like you could have stores go out of business. And when you have a store that goes out of business, it could take you years to replace that store.
It's a chain reaction, I'm assuming, right? I mean,
It can be a disaster. I mean, you could have an anchor tenant go out of business, and then that anchor store sits empty for years because they're hard to replace. And then if they go empty, then the next one can go empty because they don't have the anchor bringing the.
right.
These things can collapse
It's like,
fairly quick.
isn't that the vicious cycle that happened to a lot of the malls and everything? Where
Right? Yeah.
what
So
do they
retail,
call it? There's a word for it. The destruction of the mall, or there's something.
the collapse of the mall.
Collapse of the
But there's
mall.
like these medical buildings. I've been involved in some medical buildings, medical office, and different medical buildings, and like single user medical buildings. Well, if that business goes out of business or whatever, you're sitting there with an empty asset that might be costing you tens of thousands of dollars a month, if not more. And there's nobody there paying rent. And to get somebody in there could take you months or years and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars of improvements to get them in there.
Right.
So it's a completely different risk profile versus you need to have deep pockets to get involved with that stuff and be willing to lose a lot of money. And can you still sleep at night doing all that? I mean, I basically, after all these years, have realized it's not for me. I've done enough of it. It's not for me to be the general partner on. I will invest passively in some deals, maybe, but
It's one thing to lose your money. It's one thing to lose somebody
it's
else's
bad
money.
to lose your own money. But imagine losing
Right.
other people's money, or being on the hook for a mortgage
Yep.
beyond what you invested into it. Because some of these deals are personally guaranteed. Some of them are, and some of them aren't.
So let me ask you this on this commercial stuff here. Is it COVID? I mean, is it COVID that took it away?
Yeah,
Is it also
I think
hold on one more
people-
second. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is it's COVID, and then this whole thing called work from home. Like, holy smokes, we realize that if it kind of comes back to doing, hey, if you produce your KPIs for this and you keep producing, sure, continue working at home.
I mean, those are parts of it. I think the biggest thing is actually interest rates is the number one problem. And I watched this for years. I was like, at some point, interest rates will go up, and this is going to be a disaster. And I think everyone's just like, well, they won't go up that much, or I'm like, there's a risk. I always thought there was a risk of them going up 2 or 3 points, and they did. And when they did, a lot of this stuff collapsed.
Is that the same thing that happened with our, the collapse that we had for just in the residential side? Is it kind of a different collapse, kind of the same thing? Because everybody kept saying, you could ask anybody, oh, something's going to happen, and everyone kept going, oh, it's going to be the residential. I'm like, no, it's not. We have back in the late 2000, was it in 2000, 2010, we had a supply without a demand. Now
Right.
we have a demand without a supply.
Right.
So-
and all these people say there's going to be a residential crash. There's all these people on YouTube saying this. I've been saying it for years. And I watched their videos and stuff. I don't see it. I see all the structural things that caused the last collapse don't exist anymore.
Right.
The government went in and changed all this stuff so that it can't happen again. Right or wrong, I don't. A lot of the stuff that caused the crash last time doesn't exist anymore.
Right, but then doesn't that? I hear the yappers in the background talking about on the commercial side of it that, hey, we did all this protecting on the residential side, but we didn't do it on the commercial side now.
They didn't,
And
because there's no homeowners in commercial. There's no homeowners on the commercial side to protect.
right,
So the government is way less likely to step into that unless it's an existential threat to the entire economy.
right, because the commercial is considered Wild West, right? I mean, you can say anything and do
You're
whatever.
an investor. You're a business person. You
Yep.
know what you're doing, and if you lose money, it's on you. The government's not going to step in and help you.
Do a quick. This is a tip. Like, this is again, the Wild Wild West is for people that are in commercial. You can say whatever, do whatever, because they assume that you're a business person.
You're not a consumer. You're not a homeowner. You have no protections.
The Department of Commerce is they protect the consumer,
Consumer. Yep.
the general consumer, but they're not going to protect the general consumer on a commercial property.
If somebody goes and buys a commercial property, they are immediately not just a consumer anymore. They are immediately a sophisticated investor.
Right. And that's what I wanted to make sure everybody understood is you're not protected by all this other, the government protecting you.
If you're buying any commercial property that I'm aware of, if you're buying a commercial property, you are not just a consumer anymore.
right.
It's not home you're living.
You guys, what we're talking about is like there's always disclosures when you're in a house. There's disclosures for commercial too, but they're different. They're just saying you could basically say I don't know anything, and It's
Yeah,
you got to
commercial
go
property is
figure that out.
completely on the buyer to figure everything out. The seller doesn't have to tell you anything. The biggest thing on commercial, if you're selling something, is you can't commit fraud or lie about anything or falsify any documents.
Well, I hope not. Yeah, right.
But that's with any transaction. But you don't have any responsibility to disclose anything. With residential, you have to disclose anything that could be a material fact to the buyer, and in commercial, that's not the case.
Right. So that's pretty big, right?
So a lot of times with commercial real estate, like the sellers, they kind of want to give you as little information as possible and let you figure it out yourself.
So, but what's different then on a residential versus commercial is right. Residential is going to be 5 to 7 day inspection. Commercial, what's the typical due diligence? 30 to 90 days?
40 is pretty standard, 40 days.
Okay. I mean, I've seen 90
You're not
days.
just doing inspections, you're doing financial due diligence is a lot of what it is.
Right.
And inspecting a commercial building is a huge project. It's an engineering project, actually. You hire an engineer usually to do it. And the report can be $5,000 or $10,000.
I was just going to ask you, you've done those before, haven't you? How much do they cost?
Due diligence on a commercial building, the few times I've done it has been $30,000 to $50,000 to do due diligence. And I've done it on properties that I haven't bought.
So let me ask you this: are they going in there and going with their little electric meter and with doing polarity on every single outlet, and then they're coming back and saying, "Oh, the polarity in room 482, you got to fix that."
Not the guys that I've hired haven't done that.
Okay.
They're looking for big structural things.
HVAC.
Yeah, the big
structure.
Stuff.
Roof.
They'll climb on the roof. They'll go through all the systems. Go through the elevator systems, like the stuff that could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars is what they're looking at. The pool systems, if there's a pool, our hotel has a pool, because stuff like that is you have individual systems in buildings like that can cost you $500,000 or $1 million. An outlet isn't going to make any difference. It's $100 or something like that. You don't care as much about that kind of stuff. But yeah, these commercial buildings have very expensive stuff that can go wrong. That's the other thing that's very risky is like you have a maintenance issue, and it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, even things that don't seem like that big of a deal can be $30,000 to $50,000.
Right.
And it happens. I mean, from my experience, it happens on a way more regular of a basis than you would expect it to. So we've had had to replace an entire electrical system in our restaurant. Not a very big restaurant either. I mean, but it's a commercial kitchen and a commercial restaurant and all these commercial electrical systems. And the second something's commercial and big building, the price goes up. I mean, a lot, like 5x. It's a huge multiple on what you would pay in residential.
Mm-hmm.
So this electrical system in the restaurant is like $30,000. Well, you can replace the whole panel in a house for like $2,500. It's a big difference in cost.
In fact, you probably should tell me what it cost in a residential, because you were tasked with trying to find a. You forgot about it, didn't you?
I haven't called him yet. No, but then we had like the hot water heaters in the hotel for an 82-room hotel. Hot water heaters is $30,000. Can be more. We just had a bunch of stuff like that. Like the sewer line could be $20,000 or more.
Yeah.
The pool, if we replace that pool or fix the pool, because our pool is actually down, probably $300,000 to fix the pool and get it up and running. So that new elevator could be $300,000. So this stuff it's very expensive.
Yeah, you're scaring everybody that's thinking about going into residential.
I hope I am. This is how I learned. I've been doing commercial for almost 10 years, and I spent a lot of money fixing things. And I've learned a lot because I've fixed so many things and spent so much money on it.
Right.
We had a commercial well at my other hotel that was like $15,000 to fix or replace or whatever. And new septic system. We had a septic system out there. It was a rural area, and septic system was $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Septic for a house is like $20,000. Hotel.
Hey, I just realized we need to do like a podcast, you and I, just talking about the two purchases that you made. Not me. I wasn't part of any of it. And maybe kind of go through that. And
those are interesting. They are. I learned a lot. They are interesting, and we made money on both of them. But what I was getting at is it's not just about graduating to commercial and doing bigger deals.
Right.
There's a part of it you have to figure out is like, what is your willingness to take on risk and to be able to sleep at night, and what is your willingness to take on investors' money and risk other people's money?
Right.
Because if you're doing big commercial deals, you're going to be raising money to do that.
Right.
And
So
I don't know. I don't want to do that.
so
Personally.
the evolution of people getting into this business, typically people, a lot of times people don't stop where we're at. They'll keep going. So they start off with wholesaling, right? They do that for a little bit to bring in cash. Then they typically go into flipping, and they continue to do that. They might now go into mobile. You think they go into mobile home parks or
Some
self
people do. I know
storage?
a friend of ours in Texas is in mobile home parks. I know a couple guys that are in mobile home parks. That's a good way to go. Mobile home parks, you're going to frequently have to raise money for that too if they're decent sized.
Right.
Because they're like 30% down deals with the bank, and a tiny mobile home park is $1 million. So you're going to be a couple $1,000,000 or more, 30% down. Like that's a lot of cash. So you're going to usually have to raise money for that. Those are pretty low risk usually, as long as you do everything right. So
Well,
those actually don't scare me.
I'm trying to do the evolution of kind of like, hey, again, people start on wholesaling. Well,
Yeah, what do they get into?
I can
Yeah.
even start even sooner than that. They start with bird dogging and like, hey, I think
Or
I
they
want
can
to get
start as
into
a
this.
realtor too. Some people do that,
Sure.
you know. And then yeah, you work your way up into building a rental portfolio, or some people get into multifamily apartments and syndications. And that's what I'm talking about is like syndicating apartments or syndicating large commercial office buildings or industrial buildings.
Right.
And
I think we need.
for my personality, I'm not interested in doing that.
Yeah. In fact, I would love to get on another one, Brady. Just make sure you throw that out there. Where have Jaden talk about his acquiring 2 different hotels and what you did to them. Little teaser, you know.
Sure.
Like
those are interesting stories. Those are really good stories.
I think those are really good stories because
I've been in a lot of different asset classes to see which I liked best, and through 10 years of hotel experience, I learned I don't like hotels. So I'm not going to do hotels ever again.
Right.
But I learned a lot, and then I think where I'm at with all the asset classes that I've been involved in is I like mobile home parks. I don't want to be managing a mobile home park myself. So
you got to be a hard ass to do that.
Passive investor in mobile home parks, which I like that. But you could be a general partner and go find them and get a manager to manage it for you. That'd be okay. That's pretty low risk. That's housing, right? So it lines with what we do. Like it's a house. Like people need to live there.
Right.
There's always a good use for it. So that's a pretty good business. And self storage, I think, is pretty good. I haven't done much with self storage. Not too much. Industrial it can be risky depending on what the building looks like and where it's at.
Land.
It's an issue where you have a big tenant move out too, and you have a problem on your hands.
Land, right? I mean, that's another one.
I've done land.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about hotels. Brady put on there. We need to talk about land, because that could be some of the things that we're doing in land and how it's kind of passive aggressive. It's over on the side.
I've got 2 different types of land investing. I could talk about development and like land arbitrage, which is this like buying land at a discount and then selling it on contract for deed. So we talk about that, and then what was the other one? Oh, mobile home park. I think we should talk about mobile home parks because I know a lot about those. I've spent 10 years dealing with those things.
Well, it's going to be you and I. I'm going to next week. Brady doesn't know this, but that I'm actually heading down there on Sunday. So I'm going to get Brady to hook us up with a couple of different cameras, and but it's our job. We have to. I'm putting we, and it's not the mouse in my pocket. It's you and me.
We're gonna podcast it.
We gotta just.
Well, there's a nice place at Venice Beach that has tables that are under some roofs right on the beach.
Yeah.
So we'll just go set up there and do it there.
I'm very aware of. You're talking right there on the island.
Yeah, it's pretty close to that condo that we had.
Yeah, I think
that walkway with the little tables.
We'll get JR to hold the camera. No, we'll bring your holder. We need to start being. I'll get these the mics also. So because we're gonna be away, and I'll get Brady to show me how to make sure the mics get attached on there, so we can take care of that. I think that'll be fun. So hey, I'm gonna we've actually been talking a lot. Brady, what do we got here?
Roughly 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good,
I
right?
started early, so it's hard to say.
Okay.
So 35, probably.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean, are you happy with what some of that stuff? Dude, we had so much more this morning too of just.
I just wanted to wrap up that the commercial stuff. So my whole point of all of it was, I think you need to understand your personality type and how you work and like what you're comfortable with,
Mhm.
and that will direct where you go with real estate or business. And that's something people don't talk about. People talk about like, well, everyone should just go down this path and do this or that or whatever. And no, it depends on your personality, what you want to do. And I think you also need to figure out like, what do you like doing? What do you want to wake up and do every day? That's not going to feel like work to you. It's going to feel like enjoyable and fun, and not going to feel like you can't sleep at night because you're too worried about the risk.
Right.
You know, that's no way to live.
I know we sleep a lot better. I remember the very first year we had like 20 something houses, and we're going into the new year, and we're like, what the hell did we do? And now it doesn't even bother me whatsoever. I know that.
Yeah.
I guess we
I
know.
wake up at 3 a.m. and text you about something, and you text me back because you were awake too.
It's, you guys, it's stressful. It's not. That's why Jaden has even more gray hair than he did when he's no. That's because of his kids, not his business. I swear.
Combination of the two, probably.
Yeah. Right. So, again, thank you for hopping on here. I think this is working out pretty well. I like our little a little different format here. Well, we're always just going to be going back and forth. You know, maybe we put it in the car, Brady, and we sit there and do the same thing when we're going to Venice, and we'll put it in the car and just sit there and, you know, whether we say anything or we don't say anything.
We should swing by and check on our Port Charlotte property too. We'll be down in that direction anyway, so
Yeah, for sure. And then do this for me too. If you find any other wholesalers down there, if you find something, let's go take a peek. Let's go grab JR. Oh shit, I gotta call JR too and make sure that let him know that we're gonna be in, that we want to hang out on Tuesday. And then I still need C12. Who am I supposed to email for a plate?
I sent you there's a link in the email. You just click the link and fill out what kind of food you want.
Okay, perfect. You want to say the our last our ending speech?
Yeah.
Hey Jaden, what do they need to remember?
We made all the mistakes, so you don't have to.
Yes, thank you, Jaden. We'll talk to you later.